to hang out here with you guys on the Power to Gain Wealth. And as you know, I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. And really, I have a passion just for people understanding wealth. And for me, wealth is in every area of life, but it also includes money. We need money. We need money to pay the rent. We need money to pay for bills, to put food on the table. And so I don't want to ever shy away from that. So I want to talk to you today about some really great businesses that you can jump into, and you don't even have to go to college. Most of them, you can make a six-figure income pretty easy. You know, a few little basics that you'll need, like a business license, super simple. I'll go over that at the end, so you'll want to hold off till the end and hear all these. So I'm going to go through these, and in no particular order. I just wrote them down. I want to talk to you about one. If you're an action type person and you actually love being outside. I know this sounds a little bit strange, but I'm sure you probably all have seen these guys and gals. And what it is, it's those guys and gals who go around and paint the address numbers on the curb. You do not need a contractor's license. I'll tell you what you need, and it's actually super mind-blowingly simple. But basically, one person runs around, and they go around one particular block, and they put notes on the door. Hey, we're going to paint your curb. If you would like us to paint your curb, it's $25. If you'd like us to add like a heart or something else, pay an extra $5, $10, we'll do that. They knock on the door, ring the doorbell, whatever. And then they just keep going around the block. They give it a little bit of time. And then that same person, after they hit a second block, goes back to the first block and they check to see which envelopes have the money in it, right? Or if that person says, hey, just knock on my door, I'm going to give you my credit card, then obviously make sure you take a credit card payment. But what happens is then that person who collects the money at the door, they tear off a piece of tape. Usually they get a colored tape like red or blue or something like that, and they just put it on the curb. Now, there's a person who usually rides a go-kart or a scooter or something like that, and they have a simple set of stencils. You could get them at any Home Depot or Lowe's. You're going to be blown away when I show you how much money these people make. It's going to actually shock you, and you don't need college, and you could take care of an entire family on this. But they go around, and they just pull off that tape. They spray it. They do their thing. They've already collected their money, and they do that until they have 100 people. Now, I know you see the back of my thing right here, but we're going to open up a calculator for just a minute. So my producer here is going to get that ready for you. We're going to go on that, and I want to show you and crunch the numbers. So the average curb business that does this, they stay out every day until they are able to collect about 100 different homes. That's not actually that hard. Sometimes it's done within 3 hours, sometimes less. So I want you to see this. So you can see the calculator, I hope, up there. But basically think about this, 100 times, let's just give it an average number, $30, right? So they do 100 accounts a day. So what is that? Well, that's an easy number. That ends up being $3,000 a day. Let's say they do it 5 days a week for a month, and let's just call it 20 days. I know sometimes a little more, but let's do 20 days. So times 20. So in a month, the amount made, as you can see here, is $60,000. Wait a minute. You mean you can make $60,000 a month without a college degree? Yes. Now, if you divide that, the materials aren't much. Let's just say for a month, your materials are, let's just give it a wild number. Let's just say 5,000. It's not even close to that. So reduce that by 5,000. Of course, these are basic numbers, right? You're left with $55,000. And then if you have two people, because you have your runner and then you're the stencil person, divide it by two. How much is that? Each one of you are making $27,500 a month. Let's multiply that by 12. Let's see how much you make in a year, right? So in a year, you make $330,000 a year. That's most than a lot of lawyers. That's most than a lot of, some doctors only make about $250,000 to $300,000 a year. So you're doing all this without a college degree. You don't even need a high school diploma for this. Isn't that mind-blowing, ladies and gentlemen? These are the kinds of things I'm talking about that people don't think about that. Thank you, Ben, my producer. You can go ahead and put back up my beautiful little empowering entrepreneurs, which is really my passion here with the Power to Gain Wealth, is to empower entrepreneurs, people who think outside of the box, right? People who know that there's not just one way to accomplish a task, to get things done. And so this is basically, there's not really a name for it. You can call it, curbside number address painting. I don't care what you call it. But basically, there's a lot of money to be made there. So if you're that go-getter and you're ready to rock the world, boom. And the crazy thing is, if you learn to invest that money, oh my goodness, you're going to make great money. And so I'm going to show you this in a minute, and it's what's called a compounding interest calculator in just a minute. But first of all, let me just say this. You do not need to go to college to be an investor. Now, I did go to college, and I got interesting degrees. My degrees are actually in theology and philosophy. I can teach you everything you want to know pretty much about the Bible, Hebrew, Greek. I took all those courses. But the thing is, I ended up becoming an entrepreneur and making great money, owning some apartment complexes, houses, 12 businesses, and growing and scaling, just expanding across the U.S. and in other countries. But one of the greatest decisions I ever made, it doesn't require any degree, and that is I became an investor. Imagine you sign a contract, you deploy your money, and that money goes out, and it literally makes you money. You don't have to pay for insurance, which is called workers' compensation. You don't have to get payroll on those dollars because those dollars are inanimate objects. They're not people, so you don't have any quarterly reports to do. For those of you who've ever had to do quarterly reports because you have payroll and staff, none of that needed, right? That money goes out and you just make money. Man, I can't believe it. It was actually one of the greatest decisions I ever made. And so let me just show you. We're going to pull up a what's called a compound interest calculator. I'm really working my producer today. I really appreciate him. He's amazing. So we're going to pull up. He's just going to type it in, compounding interest calculator. And there's a specific one I like to use from investor.gov. This is a great one. Go ahead and pull that up. Are you able to pull that, or do I need to move out of the way? There we go, because I want these guys to see this, right? Now think about this. No matter where you're making money from, Taco Bell, McDonald's, or you're making money because you're working for a contractor or doing something like that. Imagine this. Okay, I'm going to kind of move out of the way because I want you to see this. So I'm going to hold this mic because I need to make sure that the mic can hear me. But watch this. So the initial investment, right? I hope you're seeing this. You can go to investor.gov, pull up compound calculator, and you're going to notice that you can do these numbers yourself. So where it says initial investment, right? Let's just say you do it through what's called a self-directed IRA. That's something you cannot get on Schwab. They're not self-directed. They only allow you to invest in things that they want you to invest. You're going to have to go down in the description to see my course training on all the different kinds of investment accounts that you get to utilize to invest completely tax-free. This one you're allowed, if you're under 50, to put $7,000 in a year. So put the $7,000 in there. It's the initial investment right here. And we're going to show you how, when you utilize the power of compounding interest in the absence of taxation, how much you can make. Now, here it says monthly contribution. So every year you get to put $7,000. So let's say that breaks down at basically to $583 a month, which basically comes close to the $7,000, right? So we're going to put that in there. Now, the length of time, let's just put 40 years. I just love that because if you're younger and you're wanting to grow and scale, you want to invest for the long haul, right? Now, we're going to pull it up so you can see it. Go ahead and pull that up. Thanks, Ben. Where it says estimated interest rate. Now, the things that I invest in usually get over a 20% interest. You could always give us a call or email us. There'll be information down there. You can email us. But it gets about a 20% APR and sometimes as high as 26% or beyond. Now, the interest rate range, okay? You don't need to put anything there. And compound annually. Let's compound that annually. Now watch. You put in $7,000 at the beginning. You put in $583 into a good alternative investment utilizing an account that never gets taxed. There'll never be short-term or long-term capital gains. Go ahead and click the button, Ben. Watch how much money you will make after 40 years. You'll withdraw completely tax-free. $61,666,030.42. That is mind-blowing, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe that? That's amazing. There's a lot of money to be made as an investor. So what do you have to do to be a multi-millionaire? Whatever job you do, just make an extra $583 a month and put it into one of these accounts and deploy it into a fund where you're going to be able to make a 20% plus APR return. Wow, that's phenomenal. That's what I do all day long, ladies and gentlemen. Basically, one of the things I do, get up and go, hey, where can I move my money today? All right, now, the next thing I want to talk to you about, so we talked about Curb. Both of these don't need a college degree. Now, they do take some learning. The Curb one, you got to be able to spray some paint. over an stencil. That's not too hard. Probably take you 10 minutes to get that dialed in. The investor one, definitely a little bit more challenging if you want to know more information, but you do not have to know a lot of stuff to invest. You just want to invest with someone or some kind of thing that pulls a return for which you feel comfortable with. Now, my personal recommendation, ladies and gentlemen, is real estate, right? You want to invest in real estate because if you invest in things that are like just out there in the air, some people will try to invest in stocks, and it's not a bad thing, especially if you invest in index stocks. On average, you get about a 10% return. But a lot of people, they try to go for the penny stocks. They're hoping for the big boom, right? They throw their money into something like Schwab or Robinhood, and then they're investing in these things that they're hoping are going to take off. And if it does, it was going to bring a boatload of money. But usually those are super high risk. Not things like Microsoft or Tesla, low risk, things like that, BlackRock, stuff like that, right? But what's interesting is when you invest in things like stock, if you lose your money, like your money went out there in the stratosphere, but nothing came back, right? Excuse me, nothing came back, and you had no asset to hold on to. Your money's just gone, like gone in the wind. It's lost, right? But when you invest, because there are 12 money-making machines, and you're going to be a lifelong follower now of the Power to Gain Wealth because you're going to want to get access to that video, right? The 12 money-making machines, the number one best and safest money-making machine is always real estate. And that's key to know because when you invest in real estate, even if the economy goes up and down and crazy, even if the economy tanks, guess what? You still hold a real asset. That's there. You might have to write it out. You might have to rent it out. You might have to fix it up and flip it, whatever you got to do. But at the end of the day, you own an entire house, right? Or an asset. So that brings me to real estate. What do you need? Do you need a college degree to get a real estate license? Now, I did have a buddy who actually went to college, wanted to know about real estate, wanted to get a degree in real estate, spent $140,000, got out of there with a bill of debt close to $100,000. And I was like, bro, why did you do that, man? You could literally pay $1,000 and they'll train you for a couple of weeks. And then you go pass the exact same state exam to become a realtor. And then now you're selling properties and making bank. Now I'm a partner with a great realtor, great real estate company. And we do a lot of stuff together and buying up properties and lands and stuff like that. One of my best decisions I made was partnering with a great realtor and going into business with him. I'll have him on sometimes on the Power to Gain Wealth, and you'll hear some great things. But one of the things that we talk about in the ever-shifting real estate world is if you're a realtor, believe me, you can make a lot of money, $150,000 to $180,000 a year just selling real estate. You got to be a good salesman. You got to get yourself in front of people. And if you're already a people person, then you're going to kill it, right? Maybe you love going to Chamber of Commerce meetings and entrepreneurial meetings throughout the cities that you're in. They're all there. You just have to know where to find them, right? Usually you can just go to Meetup, by the way, and find all those things and go to these meetings. You're a people person. You're going to attract people. You're going to give them your card. They're going to want to use you because every person buys and sells about 3 homes or more in their lifetime. People are moving constantly, right? So there's open opportunity to make killer money. The only thing that I would say about real estate, because I want you to reimagine how you do real estate, is once you get that license, don't just be one and done where you just have to always chase the next sale. Begin to also become an investor in real estate because then you deploy your money and you know the real estate world because you passed the state exams to get your real estate license. And now you are converting into what all the billionaires and multimillionaires do. They become investors. So that's another one. You do not need college to become a realtor. It would almost be a waste of your money because you're still going to get the same license and you can make a killing. So let's talk about another one. Now, I noticed that out of my clients, I have thousands of clients that have gone through my programs, my schools, and all the other businesses that I have. And what's interesting, most of them have a hard time finding a good bookkeeper or a tax professional, a tax strategist specifically, because so many people don't go into that industry. Maybe they're afraid of numbers. I don't know, but it's mind-blowing because you can make great money. Now, some people go on and become a CPA, And a CPA learns a lot about money and, but interesting to note, when they do finally get certified to do their taxes, whatever state they're in, it's usually only within that state. But there's another thing called an enrolled agent. That's an EA. And this is in many ways a little bit higher level because they specifically only focus on taxes. So what do you have to do to become an EA? Do you have to go to college? You don't have to. No, not in this day and age. All you got to do is you could study the EA curriculum and you can go pass the state exam and become an EA. Now, I recommend that you just jump into one of those little courses that teach you in like 6 to 8 weeks. You could do it online. You could do it in a classroom setting. They have them all over the cities that where you live. Or if you're super rural, then hey, you know what? Go for a week or so to a busy city, and they'll have those classes. So you study, you take your EA exam, and then you get to process taxes. Now check it out. Taxes are processed for corporations, usually March 15th, and for all other people, W-2 earners and individuals, they process taxes on April 15th. Of course, you know that, right? Now here's the crazy thing. So when it comes to taxes, usually the going rate is anywhere between $800 to $1,500, depending on the extensive tax paperwork that they bring you. So basically, you work about 6 months out of the year. You make about $180,000 profit. Wait. $180,000? Well, of course, you have to get to know people. So go to the Chamber of Commerce's. Go get to know people. Tell all your friends, relatives, family that you process taxes. You got to build your base, but it doesn't take much to do that because everybody's always looking for a good tax person. One of the things I encourage you to read is the book Blue Ocean. It's what I call the Blue Ocean Effect, and that is what uniquely makes you different than other tax professionals. And I'll give it to you right now. I'm going to tell you, you do this and you will have people flocking at your door. No college education needed. Go past this, get your certification, start your business. I'm going to talk to you about how to start a business at the end. And then you do this one thing and you'll have people flocking, right? What do? Whenever people come in to pick up their tax return, you take a quick, brief look at their business. You notice, hey, they're growing maybe 10%, maybe 20, maybe 30% year after year. So then you say, hey, let's have a half-hour meeting when you come in. Make sure you stay here, right? And you actually sit down and say, you know what? If you begin to implement these couple things or these few things, you're going to save more on taxes because I can see you're growing and scaling. Most tax professionals, they don't do that. They don't have that one-on-one. They don't give them the time of day. It's just like, here's your tax return, here's what you owe, or here's what you're getting back, the end, right? You want someone who could give you some tax strategies to grow and scale your business. Now, if you do, you need to become an avid student of taxes. And I want you to think about this. Will Wright, one of my favorite tax professionals, and Sandy Bulkin. These are two of my favorite tax professionals in the world, probably some of the most highest level, highest caliber. If you ever get any of their books on Amazon, I highly encourage you. I study taxes regularly and do have a tax company. You're more than welcome to give us a call if you want info. But here's the thing. You start that kind of business, you get the right people in, and you are going to make money, no college degree. So maybe you love numbers, but you don't want to do all the college stuff, right? You don't need to. Why do you need to study English and history again when you're going to go in and just do taxes? So that's another one, right? That's a great one. You'll make over a six-figure income, and you'll blow people's minds. It'll be good, right? And you become an avid student of numbers and taxes. And here's the beautiful thing. People are always asking for help. They just want help. A lot of people don't want to crunch numbers. They don't want to know taxes. They want a gal or a guy that's going to be on their side, that's going to help them. Now, Will Wright, interesting, and also Sandy Bulkin says that 85 to 90% of all CPAs with a college degree aren't even worth their certificate on their wall because they don't understand entrepreneurs. They don't understand what it is to legit own a growing and scaling entrepreneurial type business. So you want to get and become that tax person who caters to entrepreneurs. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it. I know you can. If you want more info, obviously reach out. So let's talk about a couple other businesses. Let me see here. I wrote them all down. I've been thinking about these over the years. Here's another one. It actually makes great money. Believe it or not, this is so simple. I'm about to blow your mind, right? And I know there's going to be naysayers and say, oh, you can't do that. It's stupid. Yes, you can, because I know people legit doing it. You ready for this? One of the the number one, I don't know if you know this, it's not the number one crime. The number one crime worldwide is identity theft. The second one is burglaries, people being burglarized. I don't know if you know this, but about one every 32nd, a home is being burglarized every 30 seconds in America, which is crazy. I know you can Google it and there's stats all over. That's just the one I happen to follow. So it could be higher or lower. You navigate that yourself. Sometimes we don't know. Hey, if it's not on Google, then it must not be true. Abraham Lincoln, right? So the thing that you got to think about is this, and I'm going to give you the solution. One day, if you're not married, you're going to get married potentially, or you're going to have children, or in any combination at some point, you might have children or nieces and nephews at your house. I don't know your family unit and what that looks like, but at the end of the day, you might have young people in your home. Isn't it interesting that when you have one of those peepholes that you look out the door, they're always at adult level? Interesting. But you can make over $100,000 a year. And all you do is you knock on the doors and say, hey, would you like us to put this specialized peephole at a middle door level so young kids don't run to the door and just simply open the door? Now, I know there are things you can do, like you can also get what are they called? The doorbell, so you can see the camera. But a lot of kids in their impetuousness, they just run at the door because they want to answer it. It's probably one of those constant flights. Hey, don't open the door until you ask, right? But you could put one of those little peepholes and they run up to it and they don't have to climb up on a little step stool and potentially fall off and hurt themselves, because that has happened. But they can actually look through this peephole and they could see who is actually out there. Crazy enough, the statistic I saw on the internet, and again, you need to look it up, and who knows if we can believe statistics, but according to what I saw recently, and this was as of March, April, actually, we're in the month of, because this was yesterday, so this was April. We in the month of April? May, sorry, we're in May. I should know that. Man, I got lose track of time. But we're in May of 2024. And as of May of 2024, about one child is abducted in America every 40 seconds. That's crazy, right? So you can go around and you knock on the door. You have a set in a little beautiful box, shows these beautiful little peepholes, maybe 7 of them. It's super simple. You charge them maybe $50, $100, and you're making bank, right? What is that? If you're charging $50 and it's pretty much pure profit, and you're doing 100 a day times 100, you don't need anybody but yourself. You're making $5,000 a day, right? And if you multiply that by 20 days, because you go out, Monday through Friday, you're literally on your own making $100,000 a month. I don't think you need a college degree. All you need is a drill, a proper drill bit, a little bit of tape to keep the door wood from fraying. Maybe watch a video on how to drill something if you're not, any kind of expert in a drill or a contractor, on how to drill through wood without causing the wood to fray, where it kind of shreds or peels apart on the exterior portion. And then you can go around and do that all day long. Man, that's a great business, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you, I think out of the box. And not only that, I run into some of the most interesting and unique people that do this kind of thing. So you can do that. Go back to my, there it is right there. Got to go back to my list. So 100,000, that's 1.2 million a year. Of course, you got to buy the equipment. So, hey, maybe you're going to make a million a year walking around door to door. That's better than a person delivering mail, right? You're making way more. And guess what? Now, if you're walking around door to door, you're staying healthy. No gym necessary. You're going to be fit. It's nothing but a win-win-win. It's healing your heart, making blood flow, getting oxygen to the brain. You're helping some people to protect their homes. You're drilling holes so kids can see. Man, there's just nothing bad about this, right? And of course, unless you don't like walking. But there's money to be made. So then, again, another business you do not need a college degree. All right, so let's talk about the next one, an insurance salesman, whether it's life insurance. I personally recommend life insurance is okay. You could sell IULs, but I don't really like IULs. I'll go into that in another video. Don't get an IUL. They're not very good. I know that there are a lot of salesmen that try to sell you it, but don't do it. If you haven't heard of it, that's okay. You don't need to know about it. Go whole life. We'll talk about that in another video. Man, you're going to be catching a lot of my videos. But here it is. Become an insurance salesman. Fire casualty. That's the one you want to do. because you get to sell general liability insurance and workers' comp. General liability insurance is so to protect a house or a business. Maybe they'll get if you have a business, they'll get a $2 million policy. And if the business gets damaged or there's theft, boom, that covers it. Work comp is like anybody who has an employee has to have work comp insurance. It's against the law to not have workers' compensation insurance. And then you sell this and you create this revenue stream that comes in for the longevity of the client. In other words, wait a minute. So as you build your clients and those clients stay with you for years, I'll give you an example. If you're listening to this, you probably at some point are going to buy a car. Most of you have a car. Well, when's the last time that you talked to your car insurance salesperson? You get your car insurance and you just pay it monthly. And some of you have been paying it for years. You don't even know. You've been paying it for years. You don't even know the person anymore, right? Maybe you got it online or something, but someone is making residual income for as long as you're a client. That's a little bit better than a real estate person who does a one and done. It's a little bit better than a curb person who has to rely on the one and done. They got to always constantly get new sales. And it's better than the peephole provider who's drilling those peepholes in the doors, right? Because they're not creating a residual income. But insurance is residual. And most businesses need masses of insurance. I have all those things for my businesses. So what does it take to become an insurance broker? It's super simple. Do you need college? No. You can go to college and spend $140,000 and have $100,000 in debt. You can do that. More power to you. So I took my son and I said, son, you're going to go get your broker's license. He's like, okay. I sent him to a 1-week class, paid $1,000, and he passed the state exams first time. So think about this. Someone goes to college, spends $139,000. They have debt. They pass the state exam, which is the exact exam that I sent my son to a class, spent $1,000 to prepare him. He passed the exact same broker's exam, nothing different. And I only spent $1,000 and I didn't go in debt. Heck, some of you will spend more on that in Starbucks just in 2 months. You got to stop going there so much. And take that money, invest it in investing. You'll make way more money. So that's insurance, ladies and gentlemen. It takes nothing, okay? Again, I'm going to lay out the steps for starting a business in a minute. But that's crazy, isn't it? That's just nuts. Now, several of these businesses I talked about, you can easily make six-figure income, 180, 200,000. You're making more than teachers, professors, PhD professors who went and took 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to 9 years to get their degrees, and you're legit making more than them, right? Here's one. It's not bad. It's a good one. I mean, they're making decent money, but you don't need college to do it. It's probably not one of the six-figure ones, the $100,000 one, but I'm going to tell you a funny story. So it's Uber. You've heard of Uber, right? You could do it at your own whim, on your own time. It's an app you download, you get approved by Uber. You utilize your car to make money. If you're driving, I know one guy, he only uses it because every once in a while he has to drive to San Diego, and he just figures, oh, well, if someone's going to San Diego, I'll just turn it on, I'll pick it up, they pay for the ride. He's not even a full-time Uber driver. He actually has another business. He just uses Uber to make a little side money here and there. So I took my RV out to the beach because I'm in Southern California, and it has these big pop-out slides. And so I go, I forget which one, it was somewhere in Newport, Huntington, and we're just right on the beach. My wife and I were kicking it, enjoying the beautiful smell of the salt ocean, watching the birds, and just enjoying the beauty of the day, walking on the beach, holding hands. I'm not going to go into all that right now. But so all of a sudden, we go back and we're about to pack up, and I push the button for my slide to come in, but the slide didn't go in. I'm like, what the heck? It's making a noise, like, but nothing's happening. So I fiddle around. I'm slightly mechanically inclined, mostly no construction better. And I start looking around, and I open some doors and things like that, and I notice that the actual oil for the hydraulic system, which pulls in the slides, are out. Well, my RV is one of those drive RVs, so I couldn't drive it with the pop-outs out, so we didn't have a car. I had to Uber it, so I downloaded the app. I contacted an Uber driver. They came, picked me up, and as I'm driving, he's driving me to AutoZone to go get this specialized oil. I'm a natural talker. I talk to people, and I ask them this question. I go, hey man, I noticed you have an accent. Where are you from? And he tells me it's way over there, over in Europe by Romania, and I can't even remember the country. But it was an interesting conversation because as we were having this conversation, I began to talk to him. So you came over here, you got you got registered with Uber, and now you're driving. I go, you seem pretty young. Are you going to go to college? Are you going to do that? He's like, why do I need to go to college? I already own a home. I go, whoa, wait a minute, brother. I go, do you mind if I ask you how old you are? He says, I'm 23 years old. I go, and you bought a home on Uber? And he goes, yeah, I just drive like 12, 15-hour days, or as long as they'll allow me to. And I drive on Uber as much as I possibly can, and I take all my money. I live real frugal, and I just put my down on my first house, and now I'm going to take the equity that I'm earning in that, plus the money I'm continually making, and I'm going to do as soon as I can, I'm going to buy a second house. I'm like, whoa. And so I asked the natural fatherly question because I'm older than him, and I have kids older than him. I go, well, man, don't you like play video games or have fun? And he says this with his accent. He goes, why in the heck would I do that? I have friends that do that. They're still playing video games. They're like 25 and 30. They haven't gotten out of their mom's basement or house. All they do is sit around, smoke pot, drink some stuff, and play video games all day. And sometimes they pick up a shift at Taco Bell, barely making any money. And I already own a home, and I'm 23 years old. I'm like, dang, dude, you're killing it. So, as an Uber driver, can you do well? Yeah. On one of my other podcasts, I was talking to this contractor. He's like killing it. He's 29 years old. He's going to be a millionaire real early. And basically, he did the same thing. He realized, you know what? I don't have a girlfriend or anything like that. I hardly have any bills. I could spend all my time, instead of playing, I could pay now to play later, because I'm going to be rich while my guys, my friends who are 30, 35 are just getting sick and tired of being in their mom's basement playing video games, smoking pot, and now they're going to decide to try to level up their life, and they haven't done anything. They haven't accumulated any skill or talent, and that's exactly what I was thinking when I ran into this guy who drives Uber. He's making like 60, 70,000 a year, but he planned it right? So his goal, he wants to own 5 or 6 homes, and then he's collecting the rents, and he's making bank. And while he owns the home, the renters are paying down the mortgage payment, and he's killing it. So ladies and gentlemen, wow, there's so many ways to make money without going to college. Now, you can do the same thing with Uber Eats. I know a guy who right now he pulls about 175 a day. He basically says he doesn't come back. So yeah, it's not a whole lot of money, but he does it. He does it 5-6 days a week. But let's do $175 dollars a day times 5 days. He's making $875. So times 4, he's making about $3,500 a month. Times 12, he's making a good $42,000. It's not a whole lot of money, but he's also doing, I calculated on the 5-day a week, he's doing 6 days a week, so he's probably making, 50,000+ a year. Hey, that's not a whole lot of money, but you know what? He's in control of his own time, and he's invested it in a home. He actually owns a home. The crazy thing about this guy is he was homeless for 7 years, addicted to speed, and he had a car. I said, dude, just go jump on Uber or Uber Eats, start making some cash right now that you got your life straightened out, and boom, he's killing it. I know that's not killer money, but at the same time, you can make money without going to college. And if you plan your future right, which that's what one of my businesses does, we actually architect the heck out of your life. You got to just come to one of my free training seminars. They're usually, we rent hotels and then pull you in and just train you on this stuff. It's called The Power to Gain Wealth. The other one's Daring to Win. You can get more information on that. Let's go on to this. Oh, I love this one. Your mind's going to be blown. So let me tell you this story. So I'm at, I think I was at Ralph's. They have a gas station at some of these Ralphs. Yeah, it was. And so I'm at Ralph's and I get out of my car and, I'm pumping the gas. I like to maximize points. So we belong to Ralph's. So I just typed in my thing and it collects the points and gives me discounts on my gas, right? So I'm sitting there and this guy walks up and he's all humble and he stands about 10 feet away. He's, excuse me, sir? And I'm like, yeah. So can you help a guy out? I'm like, I don't know. Do you need like gas or something? He's like, no. I'm just having a tight spot and so I made some music. I have never made it successfully, but it's just a little CD. And he goes, I wonder if you would just buy it and help me out, just trying to take care of myself. I go, well, I don't know if I have any cash. I'm checking my pockets. I go, what do you usually ask for? He's like, well, $10 would be great. And I'm checking my pockets and I pull out a $5 bill. It was all I had. I go, bro, I'm so sorry, man. I don't have 10. He goes, it's cool, man. I'll take the 5 if that's okay. I could really use the cash. I'm like, sure, man. Why not? So I gave him the $5 and I got this CD that he'd burned off of a computer. It's nothing special, right? And so I go out of my day and I get done with the gas. I hop into the car and I'm like, that's cool. I got to help a guy, that's beautiful. I got something out of it. That's kind of cool. I put it in the CD player. And he took all the songs that were out of copyright, which are like hymns, which shockingly, they're out of copyright. So anybody could sing them and monetize them and sell them, interesting enough. And he wasn't even that good. It was like he knew how to play a Casio keyboard with 2 fingers instead of chords, right? For all you musicians, chords, right? And he couldn't add any flavor to it. It was more like, playing with his fingers and doing the best he can. And it was okay. It was him singing. But I drove off thinking, hey, I got to help the guy, right? So time goes on, and he didn't remember me, but I remembered him. He comes up to me, and it's like, I don't know, 8 months later, and, hey, can you help a brother out? And I'm like, hey, brother, how you doing, man? I got your last CD. You got another one? I'll buy it from you. And he's like, oh, I don't have another one. And I go, oh, well, man, hey, that's okay. I go, I'm sorry, bro. I got the first one. Well, let me pray for you, man. So I prayed for him. He goes on his way, right? And then I don't see him for about another 6, 7, 8 months. I don't even know. I'm walking out of Ralph's because I was buying some stuff instead of gas this time. He's on the curb. I go, hey, brother, what's up? Now, I'm one of those weird guys. I felt like I kind of knew him now that we run into each other. What's up, brother, man? I give him a high five. We give a hug. How you doing, brother? He's like, I'm doing okay, man. I'm doing all right. And I go, I've known you now for a little while. You remember me? He's like, yeah, I remember you're Alan, right? I go, yeah, dude, good memory. And I go, can I ask you like a real question? Like serious, like a real question. He goes, yeah, sure, man. Ask away. I go, do you make money at all selling these things? I mean, have you thought of a job? How much do you make doing this? And he goes like this. He blew my mind. He goes like this. He looked around because nobody's there. He goes, every day I live in San Diego. I made those same songs. I burn 100 CDs off of my computer, and I just go from gas station to gas station until I sell all 100 CDs. And generally I get $10. So $10 times 100, how much is that, ladies and gentlemen? $1,000 a day, right? $1,000 a day. He says sometimes he sells those CDs in 2 hours, and he just goes home. He says, now watch this. He goes, so while all of you guys are working and having all this taxes taken out of your check, and you're getting hit by the IRS, all my money is tax-free, baby. I have a wife and kids, and I just drive this beat-up old jalopy so that I could just make bank selling my CDs. I'm like, dude, thanks for sharing that, man. And then I began to run into people on Sunset Strip because I live by Hollywood. So I run into people always selling their CDs, making money. And now I know how much money people really make. I mean, 1,000 times 20 days. If you do it 20 days out of the month, 5 days a week, right? You're making 20 G a month. That's 20. That's $240,000 a year. And guess what? If you don't want to go out for a couple weeks, you're still making over 6-figure income. You don't even have to know how to sing. You watch this. Are you ready for this? Just get one of your friends who knows how to play some kind of instrument. Get another friend who knows how to sing a little bit. Make some CDs and go to town, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you, if I was poor, that's what I'd be doing, man. I'd be out there I could sing a little bit. I could play some instruments. Man, I'd be rocking it. I'd be out there all day long singing those things, man. But isn't that crazy that you can actually make money? I know I'm like blowing your mind a little bit. Now, he's probably doing it tax-free, not reporting it. I have no idea, more power to him, whatever he's doing. I don't know, but me, I'd probably turn it into a business and pay taxes. I do believe in, our roads and stuff, not too much taxes. I don't like that. Anyways, but moving on, at the end of the day, hey, pay your taxes. Here's another one. So this is a great one. Oh, man, I don't even know. Hey, Mr. Producer, how long have I gone so far? Can I just keep going? All right, he says keep going. He tells me, hey, He told me today, Alan, you just gotta talk longer. But I think this is some valuable stuff. So I hope you're finding this valuable because I got great businesses coming up. Now watch this one. Man, I am such an out-of-a-box thinker. I'm literally giving you things that I've ran into or thought of myself, and these things are awesome. Watch this. Probably never thought about this. But let me paint the story. How many of you go out to eat in a restaurant? You probably all raised your hands, right? You've hit Jack in a Box. Thank you, Mr. Producer. And my other employee, Oscar, he's definitely like, yeah. And you go there, right? And if you're young and you're listening to this, maybe you've heard your parents or your mom go, oh, that bathroom was disgusting. I'm never coming back to this restaurant. Because what a lot of restaurateurs, those are people that manage restaurants, what they don't know is that they think that they are in the food industry. They are not. They are in the sales industry. And unfortunately, a lot of restaurateurs don't train their janitors and their salespeople to do, or their waitresses and waiters to do this. Think about this. If you go to the store, if you go to that restaurant once and the waiter or waitress brings you a glass that has lipstick on it or the thumb in the food, and they do it 2 or 3 times, you're probably like, you know what, I'm never going back to that restaurant. Every time these people are not trained, it's disgusting. I'm not going back. Or if they go into the bathroom, you might go into a dirty bathroom and go, that was disgusting, but you might give the restaurant another try or two, right? You go back a couple times, you're like, that's it, I'm done with this restaurant. But check this out. There are so few businesses that do this. It's mind-blowing because you probably haven't even thought of this, right? But you start a company that specializes in scrubbing and detailing restaurant and or other businesses, their bathrooms. You know, you just master that, right? Because one of the nastiest things that detours most people from a business or a restaurant is dirty, filthy, disgusting bathrooms. You could start that business. No certifications required, no contractor's license, no cleaning licenses required. Man, this is bank. And trust me, you are going to make a lot of money. And here's the crazy thing. You get them on residual payments, right? In other words, they sign up for your program. You come in, maybe a couple times a week or once a week, whatever they sign up for, whatever they're willing to pay, right? And then they make money. Now, I know that there are cleaning companies that come in and clean restaurants, but a lot of times they don't just specialize in bathrooms, and they're the most disgusting things. They just kind of blow through and blow out, right? And they don't do that really great of a job because they have to do masses of them to clean that restaurant to get out. And so, you got to navigate that. But to specially emphasize that, man, you can make a killing. And I don't mean just cleaning it. You can also, if the baseboards, because a lot of times they throw water in there, you just give a quick coat of paint. You can even go that far and have a little upcharge just on little details like that, right? And you can make a lot of money. Okay, here's one. It's not bad. Look, I do belong to one of those car things that you pay monthly and you get to go you could buy the program, you go in a couple times a month, or you get the limited and you just run your car through the car wash as many times as you want. But I notice even though I belong to one, and I probably honestly run through it at least once a week, that's right, because I can't stand a dirty car. And so I run through that. And then when I'm out there, I got this little bag I keep in my trunk, right? And I could hire detailers and all that kind of stuff, but there's some things I do that I just kind of like to do. I like to get the exercise with my car and cleaning it and that kind of stuff. It's because I don't always get the time to jump in the gym. So instead of paying people, which I can afford to do, I would rather do some of those things myself because it's also my exercise moment, and I try to do it as fast as I can. In fact, when I'm driving, I fill up my own gas because they usually don't have gas stations that fill your gas. So I fill it up, and I always have a goal. By the time I put the nozzle into the gas thing, I have a goal to completely wash all my windows, empty all the trash, and get my little vacuum cleaner and vacuum all the stuff before the gas thing is done. So I usually wait till it's at the very end where I'm practically on E to give myself a thing. And a couple times I beat it, man. First thing I do, I pop my trunk, I grab my glass cleaner, spray all the windows, headlights and taillights. I run around, clean real quick with all the napkins, and I take all the trash, throw it in the garbage, and quickly try to vacuum. Now, I can get the windows done and all the trash out by the time it fills up the gas, but I have not yet been able to vacuum. I'm not that quick. But, because I'm busting really fast, it actually accelerates my heart rate. And as I'm older, I got to think about these things because I get so easily inundated on plane trips, flying to this convention or going to speak here or working in my office desk that sometimes I don't get the cardio I need. So I'm trying to put it into what I do as a routine. Kind of like, if you ever know anything about Bruce Lee, one of the things he did was he would always park the furthest away from any store he went to. That way it forced him to walk long distance. Whereas most people are trying to get the closest spot to it. And, some people could probably use parking in the way back. It would help them and it would accelerate their fitness, right? Because fitness is important. Listen, wealth is being fit. If you have ill health and you're dying because you got all these problems, right? That's not wealth. Wealth is being physically fit. And I'm not saying being one of those crazy, athlete people that are constantly going out and their mantra is work out every day. I'm saying just eat healthy, drink some water, and exercise, take care of yourself so you can live long and prosper, or Nanu Nanu, whichever show you watched back in the 80s. But at the end of the day, so you could be around for family, right? If you got that, or friends. But anyways, car detailing, that's it. It doesn't take much to start your own car detailing business. It doesn't cost money at all. I have had a feeding program for the nonprofit I have, and we had feeding programs all over. One of them still running in one of the poor communities. Every area has poor communities around where homeless gravitate. And one of the homeless guys who got free from drugs is now running my homeless program. His name's, we call him Brother Don. But they asked me one day, like, Alan, when I was out there sharing, what makes you think you'd never be homeless and how would you get out of that? And I go, it's not that I would never be homeless. I go, and God forbid, I wouldn't want that to happen. But at the same time, I hope that I would have enough energy to do something about it. And they said, well, what do you mean? I go, okay, well, let's think about this. All you guys here, you can walk, you walk every day. You're doing stuff, right? And these are obviously, they're homeless that have mental issues and have problems and they're kind of maybe did too many drugs and they're not in their right mind. But these guys here, they were interesting because, they were able to walk. They're able to move around. They might have some addictions, whether it's alcohol or something like that, but they're in their right mind. And they were asking me this question. I said, well, I guess because if I was in your place, maybe I would panhandle for enough money to get a sponge and a bucket, and then I would knock on doors at houses, and I would stand away from the door because I'm homeless and I might scare them. I would say, hey, ma'am, sir, if it would be okay, can I wash your car for maybe 10, 15, 20 bucks? I got my bucket and my thing. A lot of people would help me out. I would have a goal to knock on 100 doors. If I only get a few, that's okay. And you know what I would do? I would wash that car so dang clean that person would go, hey, come around next week. And, I'm going to have you detail. What would you charge me to detail? And I can do that. So interesting concept. That got me thinking as I began to see people starting their businesses. You could legit, again, work outside, work for yourself, set your own schedule. You could start a mobile detailing service. Now, at my offices, I have 10 offices in Southern California. And every time I go to one of them, I see some guy, like at this office where I'm at now, there's a street over here. And there's always this guy washing cars. He pulls up with his little car or truck. He has this little trailer with water in it and a little generator and a bunch of scrub brushes. And these guys are making almost a six-figure income. The average car detailer that's mobile are usually making anywhere between $80,000 and $95,000 a year. Hey, that's better than a poke in the eye, right? That's good money. And guess what? No college needed. And there's all kinds of crazy brushes and things like that. One of the companies I own is a touring company in Hawaii, and it's called Pono Hawaiian Tours. And it specializes in taking people on really fancy, nice, high-end Jeep rides and taking them to see things. Well, the goal is to take them to see things like where they filmed Jurassic Park or where they filmed Hawaii Five-0 or things like that. It's a work in progress, but it's doing well. It's sustaining itself, which is great. And we bought a whole bunch of high-end $80,000 Jeeps, really cool, killer, awesome Rubicons, right? And so, we have a crew that cleans them all the time. And so I ordered off of Amazon all these little brushes, and you can get into every little nook and cranny and clean it. I say all that to say this. You don't have to go to college to start a detailing company. Now, at the end of this, I'm going to show you how to start a business. Super simple. Let's look at I think I only want to do 10. I think I have like 50 of them, but let's see. What's the next one? Oh, yeah. This one's crazy, man. I'm going to blow your mind. You ever seen a lawn mowing company go by and mow lawns? Did you know that most lawn mowing companies do not clean, well, I'm going to go ahead and say it, the poop from your animals in the back of the house? Did you know that? I mean, I know some of you have kids, you force them out there and they go over there and you take them, probably throw it in the backyard, get the neighbor ticked off. Don't do that. I don't recommend that. But there are services that have routes, and all they do is once a month they go to houses and they are pooper picker cleaners. That's all they do. They go around picking up animal poop, right? Now, they're making on average 60 to 80,000 years with their routes. The reason I don't say landscaping, although you can make $150,000 a year mowing lawns, is because now in certain states, specifically California, where I'm at, in order to have a landscaping business, you are required to have a contractor's license. So you have to work for someone for 4 years full time in order to get that contractor's license. So probably starting a lawn mowing business is not the best deal for you, right? So there's great money to be made in, cleaning backyard animal feces, right? Okay, here's another one. One of the greatest things that businesses are looking for, I talked about tax, but they're looking for bookkeeping, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it? Bookkeepers who know how to enter in all the data from the bank account or the bank statements, the income, the expenses, all that kind of stuff, how to print P&Ls, balance sheets, income and expense statements, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, in case you didn't know that, it's about $500 to $1,000 to get a QuickBooks certification. What is QuickBooks? That's the software that probably most companies in America use to process their books. You can get it online. You can get it on a desktop. You can get certified in it. And QuickBooks wants to certify you. That way, you could start your own business. You can quite easily, because they charge anywhere between $50 an hour to about $95 an hour. No college education at all. Just get certified. And you can go at different levels of your certification and you can get massive multiple certificates. But once you get the first certificate, you could legit begin your business. And you start knocking on doors. You start talking to business owners. Trust me, it's one of the hardest businesses to find that has any time to take on bookkeeping. It's why I had to start that business, because it's so difficult to find someone. Definitely taxes and bookkeeping are the business of the future, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, the current president tried to hire a whole bunch of IRS agents because they're trying to collect all those taxes. So bookkeeping taxes is great. And if you could help your people, that your clients save on taxes, oh man, you're going to be the most sought after person. And all you need to do is take a certification course, know a little bit about money, and boom, you're rocking and rolling, right? So that'll make you a six-figure income. I know a bookkeeper making $150,000 a year, and they're just kicking it, right? They just have their accounts. They do their work. You could be remote. You never have to go into an office. You could be living in France. You could be living in Portugal. You could go cruise out in Korea or, wherever you want to go, Singapore. You can kick it, and you can do it anywhere you have computer and internet. And I recommend a VPN. You don't want to be accessing people's personal data without a VPN. A VPN, in case you don't know it, is something you turn on in your computer and it bounces you all over the world so nobody can find you and know where you're at or hack your computer, okay? Let's see what else. Okay, this is a good one. Did you know that about 95% of all millionaires are made in sales? It doesn't take a college degree to get sales. You could literally sign up for a course that teaches you on sales, and you can offer your services to any business that sells anything. And they may start you off potentially as maybe commission-based. Now, certain states have specific laws, like in California. If you don't make anything, they still at minimum have to pay you for all your hours minimum wage, right? But if you make above what minimum wage would make, then you get your commission pay, right? Just your commission pay because you made more than minimum wage. But I say that to say this: if you are good at talking, you love talking to people, you love chit-chatting on the phone, maybe everybody knows you as a talker, no brainer. You don't need a degree. You can even go to a business and say, hey, I'll be the lowest person on the totem pole. Hire me. You can even go, I saw, interesting enough, I had a young lady and an elderly lady. And we were talking about business and about jobs. And the younger lady was like, oh, it's so hard to find a business that pays money. I can't even get a job. I've been applying everywhere. And this little old lady, she says, listen to me, honey. Listen, this is what I did. I went and got a license to drive a truck, a semi-truck. She's all, you know what I did? I couldn't get a job, so I went into a company. I beat on the door and I said, hey, give me a chance. Listen, I'll work for you for 1 month and you don't pay me jack squat. Don't even give me a penny. I don't want any money. For the first month, I will work for you. And if you don't find that I'm one of your top 5 employees, then you let me go with no pay and I'll take 0 pay. I don't want nothing from you. And she goes, you go in with that kind of confidence, lady? She said, listen to me, sweetheart. You are going to make bank, but you got to prove yourself. You get your butt out there and do it. Man, I love sometimes older people. They know what it is to get out there and hustle and make some money, right? You can do that with sales too. Go make some money for that company. Prove yourself. Show yourself. You start making money and the sky's the limit. Here's the thing about sales. You get into the right product, the right business to sell the right product, the sky's the limit. You could be making hundreds of thousands, 300, 400, 500,000 a year selling stuff. You know, obviously you might want to sell stuff you believe in. You know, nobody likes snake oil salesmen, people who just sell junk to sell junk. Personally, if I was to go into sales, it would have to be something that I would use, something that I genuinely think is actually a good thing. And that's what I would sell. But you could go do that anytime, right? What else? Let's see. What else do I got here? Okay. College degree. You don't need a college degree to be a contractor. Go to work for a construction company. They're always hiring. One of the industries that's very safe in when it comes to employees is construction to a degree, especially the contracting companies that are organized. There are a lot of disorganized contractors, but watch this. I want you to think about this. And I think I'm going to close out with this last one and then talk to you about what you need to start a business. But as a contractor, you can go and you can pay a lot of money to go to a school for a year and spend $160,000, $180,000 to teach you things about construction, or you can go work for a general contractor and they pay you full time, and now you walk away with no debt. You do have to work, like in many states, but specifically in California, you have to work 4 years at a journeyman level in construction in order to then get your own license and start your own business. So it's slightly different than these other businesses I'm going to talk about. But at the end of the day, you're learning something beautiful because the law of thermodynamics, what is that? Well, it's the scientific law that all things deteriorate over time. You see it happen all the time. Got to get a new fresh coat of paint. Got to remove the mold. The grass grows. It begins to destroy the bottom of the foundation. If you get too much water there, it begins to damage the stucco on the bottom of the house, or all different kind of scenarios. The moral of the story is houses deteriorate and we need contractors. And right now, in case you didn't know it, we have a roughly 6.4 million home deficit. So even building homes makes money. But you can start off as a contractor. A contractor is going to make really good money as a contractor. The more you scale and level up, then you can get your license and you're making tons of money. I had a contractor who just graduated one of my schools because it's one of the businesses I own. And he's been out for 3 years. He did about 8 to 9 million in sales, and he produced $1.25 million in pure, unadulterated profit. Wow, that's a lot of money. He's making more than doctors. He's making more than lawyers. He's making more than teachers. He's making more than social workers. He's making more than all these people. And all he did is get his contractor's license and make money. And it's the only license, by the way, that when you're older and you retire, you could let other people use legally and charge them to use it. You can't do that with a law degree or a law license to practice law. You can't do that with a medical profession license to practice medicine. You can't do that with your teacher credential. But in construction, it's the only one that pays you till you die. It's awesome. It's awesome. There's ways to make money. Okay, I do want to touch on one more. Sorry. I want to touch on one more because we're actually doing this at a large scale and we're going to help you out. This is going to be the bomb diggity. You want to do this. And this is what it is. Hey, do you have a skill? Do you have a talent? I don't care if it's how to put on eyelashes or how to do eyebrows really well, or, you know, how to shave someone's ear hair or use wax to clean out the ear. I don't care what it is. If you have a superpower, if you have a skill that you do well and you think you can make some videos and teach it, man, I mean, maybe it's web design. Maybe it's editing a picture or a video. Maybe it's, I know I was being goofy with some of those other things. Maybe it's in calligraphy, you know, how to write well. Maybe it's in writing. I don't care. You think of the skill. If you have something that your friends always say like, wow, you're really good at that, I wish I could do that. Then you can actually create a curriculum. You reach out to us, we'll show you how to do it. We have an LMS, which is a learning management system platform, where you put on there. Now watch, I have one. I've several of them, but I want to show you one of them. So I'm just going to tell you. But basically on one of them, it makes about anywhere, depending on a good month and a bad month, about $45,000 to $65,000 a month. All right, that curriculum. And so that's what you can do. We're writing other ones. We just produced another one. A third one's coming out by my producer. You're going to want to get it, especially if you have any desire to learn how to do social media, you have any desire to learn how to do video editing and how to blow up your dang business and make it hit the World Wide Web and dominate your competitors and just get that information out there. You are going to want this program. So it's coming out soon. It's going to hit really quick. I think I could safely say that if you go down to our description and order it early, like right now, even though it's not done, we're going to give you a discount, okay? It's Alcom Online. That's what it is. It's going to be a killer program. It's even going to show you and teach you things like how to integrate AI so that you can maximize your growth. It's going to go how to actually use a hashtag so that it actually attracts the right kind of people. Some people don't even know what a hashtag is. It blows my mind that people hashtag the dumbest stuff. They don't realize what a hashtag actually does. You're going to learn all that stuff. It's going to be powerful, and you're going to get to meet my kick butt producer, Ben, right? And it's going to be dynamic. So anyways, you have a skill, you have a talent, you let us know. We'll help you craft it. We'll help you get it out there. We'll put them up on all these different LMS programs. We'll put it on ours. And of course, we'll take a little take, but guess what? You're going to make bank, ladies and gentlemen. We want to partner with you. We want to help you out. If any of this stuff is you need help on, you want questions, one of these things, you know what? Maybe we'll stick a form down there, and you could just, we'll put a form down there. So, that way you don't have to call us. You click on the form, and you go ahead and fill out that form, and we'll have some good questionnaires. And then, one of us will reach out to you. It'll either be by email or a phone call. You just tell us what you prefer, but we would prefer that you give us both because sometimes we're slammed because we got a lot of businesses that we run. We run 12 businesses out of our offices. Now, I want to close with this last thing, and that is, what do you have to do to actually start a business? It's pretty simple. The first thing is you need to figure out your business structure. Are you going to be a sole proprietorship? Are you going to be an LLC? Are you going to be an S Corp? Are you going to be a C Corp? Are you going to be a partnership? Where are you going to go? We're going to put that in the questionnaire as well, because we do own a company that puts those together, and we want to steer you in the right direction. And it really depends on what kind of business you're starting, and that'll determine the right entity so that you can save on taxes and make great money, right? Okay, so you want to know that, all right? So it's establishing that entity. Now, there's a cheap route to go, and then you can, depending on the kind of foundation you want to build, will depend on what you put your money into. Of course, I always recommend a corporation. It is a little bit more than a sole proprietor, not as much as an LLC. Sole proprietor is your cheapest, but there's no real corporate protection of protection, corporate veil protection. But at the end of the day, you need some kind of entity. Then you register that entity at the county recorder's office. You register that name if you're going to go sole prop. If you do a corporation or an LLC with us, you don't even bother with that. We take care of everything, including all the legal paperwork from the IRS and the particular state that you're in, right? So you start that entity, and then you get the proper business licenses. And that's super simple. You go down to the city that you live in or the city that you want to do work in. You have to have at least one. If you're going to do a home-based business, that's great because home-based businesses have great tax incentives and tax write-offs. You could jump into our tax program if you happen to be in SoCal, or if you're close enough, hey, it's worth the 14, 15-hour drive to get into my free tax training seminar. You don't even have to do anything with us. Just gain the information, learn how to write off your home office, and bam, you're saving money on taxes. Anyway, so two things. One, entity. Two, business license. Once you have that, you're a legal entity. Then you take that paperwork that you filed. Now, to get a business license, probably about $100 at your city. It fluctuates depending on the city. You take that paperwork from your entity and your business license down to the bank. You open up a business bank account. Voila. It doesn't cost you anything. You put $50 in it to start, right? And then what we'll need to do from there, well, then now you have a business, but now you have to market it. So you definitely need to get our social media marketing plan. You're going to need that. Just flat out, it's worth the cost. Hey, you know what? When you get like $1 million worth of value at a minimal price, it's a no-brainer, right? So you need that, right? And then you begin to market your business and you basically tell the world, on social media, on whatever platforms you use, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook or X or, all the ones that are out there. There's a ton of them. YouTube, which is killer, right? And then you basically market the heck out of it and then you produce whatever it is. That's how you start a basic business in a nutshell. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. If you want help, you fill out the form below on any of these things. Hey, subscribe. I want you to subscribe because I want to bring more valuable stuff. And you know what? In that form also, even if you just fill it out and say, hey, I want to hear some more stuff on this, the Power to Gain Wealth covers 7 key areas: faith, family, fun, fitness, firm, friendship, and finance. My desire is to build wealth. And for me, that's living a good life, a happy life with good friends, amazing people that we call family, right? A good business, maybe some form of spirituality. For me, I happen to be a Christian, but others, maybe you're Muslim or you're Mormon or you're whatever faith you are. More power to you. Or the universe is your thing, right? That's cool. But at the end of the day, that there's something bigger than you, right? And so we'll talk about that. We'll just have fun. I'm tired of all the anger and mean people out there in the world and everybody attacking each other. My thing's about benefiting all of us. You know what? We are, whether you're in America or not, it doesn't matter to me. We're human beings. We're one big, gigantic family. Let's care for each other and let's build wealth and be happy, eat some good food and enjoy life. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.